I'll remind you in September, Hari.
Yeah,
Taking
please.
precedence.
Renuka, can someone quickly call up Julian and just make sure
I
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, it started to
Hello,
stream,
everyone.
sir.
Yes.
I'll remind you in September, Hari.
Started streaming.
Yes, sir, it started stream,
Yes.
sir.
So, hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Shubha. Thank you for
Morning.
Morning,
joining.
Hari.
We're just going to wait for a couple of minutes
Yeah, Hari,
before
sure.
our administrator starts the session. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hari, shall we start?
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead.
Yes, Karthia ma'am, you can start.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Good evening, one and all present here on PSNA College of Engineering and Technology. I welcome you all for this webinar season, Climbing the Peak in Your Own Job Interview, a 6-week webinar series. We have completed 5 weeks webinar sessions and we are in the 6th week of 12th session. This series of webinar is conducted on behalf of PSNA College of Engineering and Technology Alumni Association. At this moment, I would like to thank our Pro-Chairman, Dr. R.S.K. Raghuram sir, our Principal, Dr. D. Vasudevan sir, Alumni Association Coordinator, Dr. R. Kannan sir, HOD Mechanical Engineering. Today's session is on Women Empowerment and Success in Life. We have 13 eminent speakers, experts for these various fields here. So I thanks special thanks to our proud alumni 1996 batch for bringing these opportunities to our students and for making this event a grand success. Now I would like to introduce today's speakers. Dr. Bikram Lamba, Chief Executive Officer, Motivational Speaker and Coach, Toramacon Limited, Canada. He is a freelance motivational speaker, writer, and strategic counselor, currently living in Calgary, Canada. He is a visionary with practical approach and excellent communicator and problem solver. He has performed many roles in his career, including as CEO in Purewall Associates and Tomacon Limited for more than 29 years. As the chairman and managing director of Chanakya Consultants, he had been an advisor to Government of India and assisted in formulation of political and communication strategies. He was an ombudsman of Ethnic Press Council of Canada. He has interviewed ISRO scientists who were behind Mission Orbiter's mission and has written articles on them. We welcome you, sir. Our next
Thank you
speaker
very
is-
much.
Good morning.
Welcome,
Thank
sir.
you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Morning, sir.
Ms. Kavita Govindarajulu, Engineering Manager, Pegasus. She is an inspiring CTO who is currently working as an engineering manager at Pegasus. She leads global team of engineers building a world-class hotel reservation software platform that processes millions of reservations all over the world. Prior to Pegasus, Kavita has worked at software companies ranging from giants like IBM to startups with fewer than 10 employees. Kavita is currently pursuing her executive MBA from Rutgers Business School in New Jersey. She is born and brought up in Madurai, also has a bachelor's degree in engineering from Tyagaraja College of Engineering, Madurai. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, Kavita.
Good morning.
Yeah, when the next speaker is introduced, kindly. Okay, Kannan says Sharon. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Our next speaker, Ms. Juliana Jarvis, Liasit, John P. Picon in Jarvis is a global diversity, inclusion, and belonging professional dedicated to the integration of minority and women-owned firms for a variety of projects and initiatives, ranging from international development and services, export to capital infrastructures in Caribbean, Europe, and USA. She is a former recipient of an Inter-American Development Bank scholarship focused on global value chain analysis, design and evaluation of innovation policy, and cluster mapping. She's a strong advocate for collaborative knowledge management and partnership for growth, and currently pursuing her executive MBA from Rutgers Business School, New Jersey. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Ms. Renika Batula,
Thank you.
Integrated Scientific Research Committee Lead, Novartis. She has over 10 years of experience in clinical drug development with expertise in project management, vendor management, change management, and optimization of clinical trial processes. She has a bachelor's in pharmacy, master's in biotechnology, and pursuing her executive MBA. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Catherine Katakora, AVP. Our next speaker is Ms. Sheetal Chatlani, Vice President, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. She is a Vice President within the Global Strategic and Enterprise Platform of the Global Wealth and Investment Management Division at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. Currently, Sheetal is part of Chief Operating Office team, focusing her efforts as Program Manager within the Capital Markets Group. She leads various technical agile projects which impact the business strategical from risk perspective and system enhancements across various capital market products. She graduated from Rutgers Business School with BS in Finance and Economics and is currently pursuing her Executive MBA back at Rutgers. She currently resides in Jersey City, that is New Jersey. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker, Ms. Shubha Prakalajan, Business Analyst, Elens LLC. She's an MCA graduate, has been a passionate mobile app development specialist and business analyst. She has led a team of women who had built a PSNA CET Connect mobile application platform for communication between college alumni, students, and staff, and enabling them to stay current and connected with industry professionals and subject matter experts graduated from PSNA. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, Archana Ravi. Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker, Archana Ravi, Client Relationship Specialist, U Mobile Solution, LLC. She has been a passionate educator for nearly 23 years and recently developed a newfound interest for mobile app development. She has been active in community by volunteering in various projects related to education. She is also an alumni of Citizen Police Academy and actively take part in all CPA activities. She is also current mentor and ESL teacher for PSNA Alumni Toastmaster, conducted online every Saturday, and passionately coaches the students to develop their spoken and written communication skills in English language. We welcome you, ma'am. And our next speaker is Ms. Kalabar. She is currently head of IP and legal controlling at BASF Corporation, the North America affiliate of BASF SE, the world's largest chemical company. She has over 20 years of diverse experience in finance. At BASF, she serves as valuable leader who collaborates with leadership and steers business decisions to meet financial targets and provide solutions to address the specific needs to each business. In addition to her core responsibilities at BASF, she also teaches Apples and Orange a finance competency course for non-financial employees and the forecasting class to the BASF controlling community. She is an activist for diversity and inclusion and has initiated many awareness activities around D&I within BASF. She received her Bachelor's of Science degree in accountancy from Rutgers University, and she is a licensed CPA in New Jersey. Welcome you, ma'am. The next speaker is Ms. Sahaya Arokya-Lurdu, HR professional, DXC Technologies India Private Limited. She is also called Priya by her friends and family, in MBA graduate from University of Madras, and has more than 12 years of experience as a HR professional working in DXC Technology India, previously Computer Science Corporation. She is a spouse of our proud PSNA alumni from 1996 EC batch, Mr. Santosh, and currently lives in Chennai with her adorable daughters. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Ms. Catherine Tamilarasi, Project Manager, Infosys. She is a project manager and certified in AWS Solution Architect, working in Infosys with comprehensive understanding of cloud technologies. She has over 13 years of IT work experience across banking and healthcare domains. Graduated her Masters of Engineering from Alagappa University. She currently lives with her family in Chennai. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Ms. Dennis Weber, Head of HR, CVM and Janssen Medical Affairs, Johnson & Johnson. She is a head of HR, CVM and Janssen Medical Affairs, a senior executive at Johnson & Johnson, New Jersey, USA. Graduated with BA in English. She has worked as HR specialist and leader in Bristol Myers Squibb, GlaxoSmithKline, and is a subject matter expert in HR and talent development and management. She currently lives with her loving family in New Jersey, USA. We welcome you, ma'am. And our next speaker is Ms. Kavita Ramdu, Senior Clinical Trial Manager, Pearl Therapeutics. She is an experienced senior clinical trial manager with a demonstrated history of working in paramedical industry, graduated from Rutgers University. She is skilled and strong research professional in electronic data capture, CRO management, clinical trials, good clinical practice, and clinical trial management system. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker will be Ms. Srivali Subramanian, Associate Director, UBS Financial Services. She is currently working as an Associate Director in Group Finance IT, UBS, New Jersey, USA, and had graduated with her BE in Electronics and Communication Engineering from SRM College of Engineering, Tamil Nadu. She started her career as an Oracle developer and passionate learner to new technologies, including Microsoft Azure Cloud. She lives with family and two loving daughters in New Jersey, USA. We welcome you, ma'am. Our
Hello,
next
everyone.
speaker
Glad
is
to be
Mr.
here.
Harihara. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker will be Mr. Harihara Subramanian, our proud alumnus of 1996 batch. He is a director, Group Finance IT, UBS Financial Services, New York. After his graduation from PSNA, he studied CDAC from Pune for 6 months and had worked in TCS, Bangalore for a few years. For last 20 years, he worked in multiple firms in USA. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Once again, I welcome you all for this webinar series. And without further delay, I hand over the session to the speaker. Over to you, speakers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katya ma'am. Thanks for a wonderful introduction of all the speakers. I welcome all the speakers and our PSNA staff and faculties on the call, as well as all those who are listening and watching us in the YouTube, all our friends and families who are looking at this video YouTube webinar for us to speak about the most important topic that we have for encouraging and empowering our women students in PSNA College of Engineering. So far, we have had 6 weeks of webinar, and both on Saturdays and Sundays, and we had covered multiple topics ranging from personality development, career resume building, interview techniques. We have also talked about leadership skills, developing leadership skills, and we talked about industry domain knowledge, including cloud, DevOps, engineering, enterprise architecture, automation, cybersecurity, machine learning, and current technology trends. We had distinguished HR specialists who had given us the opportunity to talk with them and understand HR manager and employees' expectations in interviews. We talked about enterprise resource planning, how business analytics helps in making decisions by the management of each firm, and how those softwares help, and how our team of students, current and future, can learn and can prepare themselves to succeed in their career. Last week, we also had a group discussion workshop on the do's and don'ts during the group discussion and how to succeed in them. Yesterday, we had distinguished speakers talking about succeeding in postgraduate entrance exam, getting into an MBA, getting into an MTech, and we talked about that. And we also had distinguished speakers talking about personal money growth, finance, and investing. Today, we are touching upon an important topic, empowering women in technology and careers. For that, we have so many distinguished speakers and many of my good friends, both from my undergrad and postgrad degree college. And we also have a distinguished speaker, Dr. Bikram Lamba, who has kindly accommodated and accepted our invite to speak on the topic of women empowerment. Before I proceed further, I would like to thank our webinar coordination team led by Mr. Harikannan, Dr. Sridhar sir, Ms. Marilyn ma'am, Jamana ma'am, Saravanan sir, Subhaya sir, Vishwanath and Palpandi sir. And we also have a team of coordinators across the disciplines of our engineering degrees, Mr. Ranjit Babu sir, Sabrishan sir, Chalaidore sir, Karthikeyan sir, Karthikeyan sir, and supported by Ms. Katiha ma'am, Sriram sir, Vinodini ma'am, and Cynthia ma'am, and truly supported by our alumni head, Dr. R. Kannan sir, along with Principal Dr. D. Vasudevan sir, and our Pro-Chairman, Dr. R.S.K. Raghuram sir. So thank you for the entire alumni coordination team helping us in conducting the 6 weeks, 12 sessions of webinar seamlessly, helping our students and all the listeners and the viewers who are watching the webinar series. Thank you, the coordination team. I wouldn't take much time away. I would want to go ahead and start our conversation with the women panel. So I just want to quickly slides through the different sessions that we had and the PSNA Toastmasters and the PSNA CET Mobile Connect mobile app that we have for connecting between alumni and students of our college. With that, without further ado, I would like to kickstart the session with our distinguished panel of speakers. I would stop this slide. I'll bring up the presentations for the current webinar. First of all, before we proceed ahead, women have always played a great role in our life. Right from each of our mothers, who have not only taught about ABC of the language, but they have taught about ABCs of life. Before we could consider anyone as a role model in our life, be it an achiever in business, be it an achiever in politics or in other distinguished careers, our first role models would have been our own parents. And truly to this session, on behalf of everyone, I would like to dedicate this session to our parents, to all the aunts, role models, inspiring women, sisters, and friends who have been part of our life, who helped us to shape who we are today. And behind every man, there is a woman. And it could also be spoken that behind every woman, there's also a man who's supporting. And it's a team. Society is not with one without the other, it's with everyone. In that regard, I would like to salute to all the inspiring Indian and international women achievers who have given us a path before us, saying that if we truly have confidence, if we truly are passionate about our dreams, if we put efforts, we can truly achieve our dreams. So thank you to all the women who have achieved in their respective careers, in their respective life, and being there as a role model for all of us. Sincere thanks, salutations, and pranams to all the women who have been ahead of us and to the next generation and to the current generation of women who are showing and living as a true role model for all of us. Thank you to the entire women in the world. I have a team of entrepreneurs, Indian entrepreneurs, and I am truly inspired by our ISRO scientist team from Mars Orbiter mission led by our Sita Somasundram ma'am. And internationally, we have been so proud to have many distinguished women leaders, including Michelle Obama, who had been our First Lady of US. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker of the day, Kavita Govindarajulu. Kavita, the stage is yours. She's going to talk about self-confidence and what it means, how to develop. Kavita, can you hear us?
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay, welcome. The
Thank
stage is
you,
yours,
thank you.
Kavita.
Thank you, Hari. So let's talk about self-confidence. I would like to start with the definition. What is self-confidence? It just means that trusting yourself. It's just simple, trust yourself, right? But what is making us not trust ourselves? Let me start with my story. I went to Tamil medium from first grade to 12th grade. I'm sure many of you can relate me with you. I got admission. I'm smart. I work hard. And I got admission for Tyagaraja College of Engineering, Madurai, first day. Very excited. I go there. I look around. All these people from matriculation and CBSE, from if you're from Madurai, you know, TVS, Lakshmi, Mahatma, all these big schools, like all these girls and boys, they're here talking in fluent English. And I think to myself, like, how am I even going to sit in this class? And then, okay, fine. I got a couple of friends who speak Tamil. I was okay. And then the professor walks in. This is the most worst part ever in every single class. He's like, you're going to get up and introduce yourself. I was like, that's it. That's like it. I almost had a heart attack. And like, okay, I carry a notebook and notes. I love taking notes. This is my journal. And like, okay, let's see what everybody says. The first guy get up, hobbies. So it's like really good hobbies. I read a lot, like reading is my hobby. And the professor goes like, what do you read? He says something like William Shakespeare. I read this, I read that. I do Hindu. And I'm thinking to myself, what do I read? I was like, Sirvar Malar, Varamalar, Ananda Vigadan, Mangair Malar. It's like, no, I cross it out. And then like when I start speaking, I have to think in Tamil, translate in English, and then get up. My stumble, I speak something, I got down. But I started developing this self-doubt or inferiority complex or imposter syndrome, whatever you call it. I'm not good enough. Am I good enough to compete with these guys? I'm not good enough in English. Those questions, those self-doubts, that inner secret voice that only you can hear, that's what is shattering our self-confidence. Now let me switch topics. We saw Michelle Obama. What do you see in her when you see her picture? What do you see in her? I see confidence, bold. I can't think of her of anything else. The way she walks, the way she talks, the way she sits, open up. I only see confidence. And she's going to G20 summit, talking to a group of students, and she's telling them, she still has imposter syndrome. She still has those inner voices and doubts. And I'm going like, what? Right? So it's totally normal to have all these self-doubts, especially when you're from a village or when you're from Tamil medium, no matter where you are, no matter if you go to matriculation. I later figured out all those people are scared of me because I was so good in programming, and they came and asked me, how do you do this? How do you do that? So nobody is, nobody has like superpowers. You're as good as everybody else. And if Michelle Obama says, like, I have imposter syndrome, still, after becoming the first lady, like, it's normal to have all those self-doubts, like, as a student. Now, how did I work on those, and how did I use my self-doubts to become successful? This is my framework that I have here in the slide. As I said, I love journal. I love taking notes. You can ask my MBA friends. So I always carry a journal. So what I want you to do is think about what your long-term goal is. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what do you want to do? So mine was really simple. I want to get out of Madurai. I don't want to live in Madurai forever. And I need to have a job. I need to be independent. That's my long-term goal. It was not a great one. If I think about it, I could have like a great one, but that was my long-term goal. Now, that's where you want to get to. Now, you have to prepare for your journey. What are the skills you need? And what are your strengths? My strength was like, I'm a really good coder and I did a lot of projects. Now, what are my weakness? What's your weakness? What am I afraid of? One thing I was afraid of, like, I'm not good in English. I already decided. And what am I afraid of? Speaking to somebody, speaking in public, speaking in interviews. And the other inner voice is telling me, you're going to be stuck in Madurai. You're going to get married, have kids, and you're going to live in Madurai the entire life. So set milestones. Now, instead of making these inner voices drag you down, like if you think, okay, I'm not good in English, you decided, you're doing nothing about it, we are going nowhere. Now, use that inner voice to channel you, make it burn as a fire, and work towards it. One day you're going to kill it. Now, we talked about long term. Picture yourself as you're so successful, you got there at that point. That's going to help you work on today's goals. Now, come down to today's world, set down short-term goals. What do I have to do? So what did I do for my short-term goals? I told my friends, like I have like two best friends, one from Tamil Medium, one from matriculation, and I'm going to talk in English, walk in English, eat English, deal with it. And I stick to it. It was so awkward in the very first place because you're very used to talking in Tamil and like it didn't come to me and they felt very weird. They used to talk to me back in English, but we stick to it. And I prepared for GRE and TOEFL. I never took it. I know my parents wouldn't let me go to US for studies, at least at that point, but you can see me third year walking around with my second-hand bought GRE book because I couldn't afford for a brand new one. And I didn't do all those. I go find these free resources. So I walk with the GRE book. Everybody's like, hey, when are you taking your exam? I was like, I'm not taking any exam, but work towards it. You don't have to care what everybody else think about you. Work every day, even if you work 10 minutes, commit yourself, hold yourself accountable. And one day you're going to kill all these inner voices, whatever self-doubts you have, and your confidence level improves. And when you get to that interview, when you get to that level, when you have this opportunity, forget about this inner voice, go there, break a leg. That's my framework. And if you guys have any questions, if you want to talk to me, I'll share my email and I'll be available. I'll make sure I find time and be available. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kavita. You touched upon a very important topic. Not everyone is born with silver spoon, or not everyone is born in an environment where everything is available in front of them. We all have come from various backgrounds, and you touched upon how you took the environment that you were in and how you focused yourself with long-term and short-term goals, and you stuck with your inner voice and made something, an action to overcome the self-doubts and used your inner voice as the fire to succeed. Today, when I look at you in our corridors, when we do MBA together, I'm so proud of you that you are standing as an inspiring role model for all the team of students. So thank you, Kavita.
Thank you.
With that, let's go to our next speaker of the day, Shubha Prahaladan. She's going to talk about also on self-confidence in a different aspect. Let's hear from her. Shubha, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good evening in whatever time zones you are. Like today, we are going to see how to increase our self-confidence using a very simple technique. Like what is self-confidence? Like as Kavita explained, like it's believing in your abilities to do something. So if you have to look at this aspect carefully, like it's believing in our abilities. Like we shouldn't have a blind confidence of things which we don't know or which we don't understand or which we are not good at it. Like those things, involving in those things will end up losing our own confidence, which we already have. So having blind confidence is bad for you. So being logical and being rational thinking, having rational thinking is really important for gaining self-confidence. So yeah. Okay, this is a simple technique which I used in my life to gain the self-confidence. Here, there are 4 blocks in this technique. You should list out the things from each of this block. Then you have to analyze. Then it's easy for you to analyze, like which we are good at, which we have to improve, which are the skills which we don't know we even have it. So it's easy for you to work on later on with if you're going to sort in this way. So the first block, I'll go to the first block. It's knowing what you know. The second block is knowing what you don't know. Third block is don't know what you know. Fourth block is don't know what you don't know. It might be a little tricky and confusing in the beginning, but don't worry. Like if you understand the concept, it's really simple. So I would give you an example for each of this block, which will give you a clear idea. So knowing what you know is there are certain things I know which I can do, like which I'm confident in doing it. Like for example, I can say, I know I can drive a car. I know I can cook. So these are all the things, whenever I do those things from this block, I'm very confident. You can say like, these are all the things of my expertise. So you can list out those things in this block. Now, going to the next block, which is knowing what you don't know. That is like, I know that I cannot do certain things, or I don't know to do certain things. Like, for example, I would say like, I don't know how to swim. I don't know how to play a keyboard. So these are all the things I know, which I don't know. So you should be brave to accept those things which you don't know. So if you work hard and learn some of the skills, you can really move those things from there to block 1. So listing out these things and finding out the things which you know you don't know is really important in every aspect of your life. So next, the third block we go to is the don't know what you know. It is like the things we know, but we are not aware of it. Like it's called like hidden treasures we have. Sometimes you have to try different things to find it out. Like for example, I would say I didn't know I could bake a cake until I baked a cake. or you could say, I didn't know I could sing until I sang a song. So these are all the things like you need, which involves more time and effort, but you could do it easily. It comes out easily, but you don't know you have those skills. Coming to the fourth block, it's don't know what you don't know. There are so many things in the universe which we don't know even that thing exists. For example, if you are going and exploring some new topic which you don't have heard of before, so those things which you don't even have an idea about, so those things will come under block 4. Exploring more in this block would lead to more inventions and adventures in this area. So okay, now can you go to the previous slide, please? So now, having a basic idea of all these blocks, now we will see how to balance the confidence within each block. So now, when I say balance, that is where when your personality traits come in. If you are an explorer and if you wish to take more risk, you have more time and effort to invest on those things, then you can work on block 2, 3, and 4. And on the other hand, if you do not want to come out of your comfort zone, if you're not willing to take risk, then you pick the first block. So now if I give you an option to select any one from any one of these blocks, which block would you choose? So I'm obvious everyone would choose the first block because it's your area of expertise. You have full confidence in that area and there are less chances of failure, but still remember that you are restricting yourself to your comfort zone. So listing out the points in each of this block would help you analyze and take a would analyze and work on things and improve. It will help you improve your confidence level. So, and one important thing to remember is a failure is a possibility in any of this situation. So even the most intelligent and powerful fails. So life is very simple at the moment you accept it. So let me also finish this by telling you how I applied this technique in my life. So as my career comeback after having 3 kids, I was conflicted what career path to choose from. So I listed out the things from each quadrant. So it was easy for me to identify my areas of strength. I got to know the areas where I need to put more effort. And I also encountered some hidden treasures within me. And that is where I figured out which career path should I choose from. So I strongly believe that instead of having a blind confidence, listing out things like this and working on our confidence zone will help to increase our confidence level. I hope this would help you guys if you figure out working on these 4 areas.
Thank you very much, Shubha.
Thank you, Hari.
You gave a framework. In addition to what Kavita has mentioned, you also gave us a 4-quadrant technique for people to list their skills and then choose to increase their knowledge and experience based on their goals and based on the time that they have and to succeed in their career. So thank you for showing us a framework and helping us to remember that in order to help grow in our career. So thank you very much, Shubha.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, I would like to bring our speaker, Sahaya Arokya. We call Priya, in our loving dedication to my friend, our friend Santosh. We wanted to make sure we hear from Sahaya on how to be independent in life and have the confidence to overcome the setbacks and challenges. So Priya is going to talk about the different facets, 3 dimensions of dependent and independent living. And she's going to be supported later by Renika, who will take us into the career growth topic after Priya completes. So Priya, the stage is yours.
Hari, can you hear me? I'm unable to hear you all.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you be a little bit more audible? Can you put your microphone near your mouth? Okay, Priya, can you hear us? Okay, so in the meantime, while we help out Priya, Renu, would you like to give your dimensions of dependent and independent living?
Sure. Thank you, Hari. Hello, everyone. To me, dependent and independent living are 2 impossible states to achieve. We all are interdependent people. So, in 2007, I graduated from my bachelor's and I wanted to pursue my master's. I wanted to be independent. I wanted freedom. I wanted to make my own choices. It was a tough battle between me and my parents. They were not accepting to send me because they didn't know anybody in this country. So they have always protected me and they were not ready to send me. But I wanted to be independent. So I came here. And I faced several setbacks. So each time I would fall, my father would say, Renu, falling down is not a failure, staying down is. So I would get up again. So in the process, I realized I'm never an independent person. I was always relying on the support of my friends and family for my own growth. To me, interdependence is the only way of living. The sooner we all understand that, the better for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Renu. Priya, are you able to hear us now?
Yes, Hari. I'm sorry, I had some issues.
No problem. Go ahead, Priya.
Yeah, thank you, Hari, for giving this opportunity for me. I'm really proud that I was Santosh's wife and he was part of the SNA college. So thank you for this opportunity. And I would go with my topic now, dependent and independent living. So dependent, we always have a starting stage of life of our infant preschool. Everywhere we are dependent on our family and friends and our parents. And at the end of our old age also, we need some supportive or assistance to be dependent. However, in between, we have a fully energetic, enthusiastic, adorable life like teenage, youth, adulthood, where we can think our own independency in life. Independent women, I think it is very difficult for a woman to lead a life independently. But women should be very much independent, as the life is not so easy platform to lead. It will have twists and turns which we have to overcome and should not be completely dependent on them. Men, they should have knowledge about everything which is going around us, especially what are the financial constraints which our family is taking. Get yourself involved in all the financial decisions which is happening in your family, the loans which are available in your family. Get involved in everything and be part of it. And independent women always think differently, make their own decisions, take ownership and responsibility. Doesn't complain, always confident, self-reliant, motivating, and always motivating the people around her. Takes risks and tasks which are challenging, goal-oriented, and always prioritize positive thoughts and aspects of life. So being independent is, if you're very strong and confident, as the topic was said earlier, you will automatically think about achieving your target. So in this part of living independent, I would go with 3 subtopics that is a challenge for college girls. So fear of living alone in the fast city, away from your parents and your guardians. So don't get biased of living alone in a fast city. Always be strong and have exploring and be independent in facing the challenges in your life. Ask yourself why you're in this city. Begin the same with a learning about it. Get yourself familiar about the city and places which you would prefer to reach for your necessity, and always have in mind your safety. Learn simple self-defending techniques. Do not trust anyone and become outspoken always. That is very important for a woman and less reliable. As a woman, try to balance your loneliness and emotional dependency, which is very, very important. Being emotionally independent would lead to have a healthy relationship with others without falling into codependent patterns like relationship addiction. When feeling alone, do what you like to pursue, automatically passion will come into without. So within you, do not expect people to help you. Explore the ways how you can help yourself. So also we have to be aware of the financial and independent how we have to manage our finance. So in that way, women think that they must be always dependent on your parents, siblings, husband, in-laws, etc. However, now this is not the case. We are balancing, and we are the ones who are multitasking everything ourselves to be very independently managing our financial constraints. My policy always: do not depend on your credit card or loans for your financial needs. Believe on your debit card balance and plan your financial needs accordingly. That would be really, you will be definitely able to manage your finance, because I manage my finance independently as a single parent. Whenever I am into financial crisis, I don't ever think. Before that, I plan myself. Thank you. And safety for a woman traveling from work. So female travelers face prevalent threats of sexual assault, theft and harassment than their male counterparts. Stay connected with your family or friends while traveling alone, and have one emergency number updated in your company records and your mobile number whom you can contact immediately for rescue. Preferably, try to use public transport on your own vehicle or have safety measures. Beware of facilities available in your organization and for women's safety, like apps and tools that are connecting to your transport resources of your organization. And I see police department also have developed a self-defense app, something called Kavalan. So women can install this and also learn the usage of it to know how to protect themselves. And so always learn to be, you have to be definitely dependent on something, but always it is very nice to be independent and leading a life, because it gives you more confidence in yourself, right? So confidence, at last, I would like to conclude myself. Confidence is nothing thinking you are better than anyone else. It is realizing that you have no one to compare yourself to anyone else. I have a motto always be the best version of yourself first. Love yourself first. The world will always love you automatically. A woman independently would be challenging, but if you plan and overcome yourself, you are the king, queen, minister, soldier, and everything of your life kingdom. Last but not the least, time waits for no man, and neither does an independent woman. She doesn't wait around for love to find herself. She goes out and discovers it for herself. Thank you, Hari, for giving this opportunity to speak about this independent life which I am living now in this society. And I think this would be very much helpful for you also to come upon in life. All the best to all of you.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you very much for touching the different aspects of being an independent woman. So sometimes we make a choice to be independent. Sometimes the life circumstance warrants us to be independent, and you clearly laid out 3 different aspects how someone can overcome fear living in a faraway society or a city, how to increase how women can increase their own safety during traveling, and you also touched upon how to be financially knowledgeable, which gives them also to become financially independent. So thank you for touching upon these very key topics and summing up everything together very well. So thank you, Priya. And with that, I would like to welcome our next speaker, Renuka, and she'll be supported by Kavita, and Kavita has given contributed some of these inputs on career growth. So Renuka, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Hari. Hello, everyone again. You are your career. You cannot separate your career growth from your own growth. The individual you are outside your work determines who you are at work. So how do we know if we are growing? And what is the path for success? According to me, the only path for success is through managing your attention, putting your undivided attention on your goals. We have heard from Kavita how she focused on her areas of development, how she conquered her fears. So wherever you put your undivided attention, you'll succeed. So when you're in your final year right now, and when you come out, the main focus would be to get into an entry-level job. Be curious to learn. And whatever your duty is, do with 100% attention, not 99%. You will be recognized, you will be noticed, and you will be rewarded. And once you reach your mid-level manager level position, again, now you're directing your team's attention to your common goals. To be able to do that, you have to be a good leader. You have to be able to influence your team. You have to be able to inspire your team and communicate well. To me, communicating well doesn't mean talking polished English. It is about clarity of your own thoughts. If you are clear with your own thoughts within yourself, your message will come across. That is the most important thing. And when you grow further in your career and you're managing an organization, now you're managing your you're directing your people's attention to the common goods of the society and your organization. So the only path to success is through undivided attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Renu. You touched upon very important things. You are your career, and many times we speak about work-life balance, and we are going to talk about it. But when we see that our work is the other side of the coin of life, so every coin has 2 sides: work and the family life, and it's one side of the other equation. So thank you for pointing that out, and thank you for emphasizing that. Thank you so much. With that, I'd like to welcome Denise Weber to share her HR expertise on interviews, telling your story, and succeeding in interviews. Denise, the stage is yours. Denise, can you hear us? Are you on mute?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Hari. I'm here to talk a little bit about how to tell your story in the context of an interview. And although we're going to talk about interviews, you can really use this for networking meetings and a number of other settings. But I think the key that I want to emphasize there on the bottom is around self-reflection. And I think, you know, the first 2 speakers, when they were talking about self-confidence, asked some really excellent questions for sort of understanding how you think about your own career and your own life. So in preparing for any interview, I think the first step is around really understanding what those long-term goals are. And when we talk about long-term goals, it might be a specific job, but even more than that, it's understanding your own motivations, the types of roles that give you energy, the types of problems that you like solving, whether or not you like leading teams, whether you like being a supporting player, whether you like white space and setting the strategy, or whether you like knowing that you're following a disciplined execution plan. All of that knowledge is absolutely critical in getting started. Once you know these things about yourself, you think about your mission. So what do you want to achieve in your career? And if you're looking at a specific job as part of that process, how is that going to help you along the way? What skills is it going to give you that you don't already have today? What new experiences are you going to get? Is it part of turning around a business? Is it part of building upon a growing business? Is it building something from nothing? Is it leading a larger team? All of those questions will help you understand how this is going to help you along the journey, whatever that is. And again, that could be about a specific job. It could be about helping patients if you're in the healthcare field. It could be about creating a memorable brand if you're in marketing. Whatever those things are that give you energy and that really speak to your motivation, it's critical to understand that about yourself. Once you have all of that set, you want to reflect around what are some of your key accomplishments. So if you're new to the workforce and coming out of school, you might think about your career at school and some of the things that really stand out. If you're, been in the workforce for a while, you want to think almost job by job. What were the things that are different because you were there? What were the ways that projects or important strategic accomplishments for the business were impacted by your presence, by your insight, your perspective, and your work? And with all of that as background, you're ready to prepare for those next 3 phases. The first one is the pitch or the opening. So with all of that in mind, you want to go in with really no more than 2 to 3 key messages about why you're a good fit for this role. You're going to demonstrate the evidence for that later when we get into the illustrate section. But in the upfront, you want to have a clear pitch around why this job would mean something to you, what you're going to bring to it that you're good at and you can feel very confident in, and where the job is going to stretch you a little bit. And if you're excited about that, how you're going to think to close those gaps, what you would do to work on that. That's really your pitch. And you want to have 2 or 3 very, very clear messages around that. I think it's important to think about interviews, and especially the opening interviews, as not just a test where you have to have all of the right answers. They're checking not to see if you can check off a long list of questions. Unless it's a skills-based interview, then there is kind of a right or wrong. But in most behavioral-based interviews, you're looking to see what advantages is this person going to bring to the role that's different from everyone else. And if you're the interviewer, it's likely that as much as you're focused on asking your questions and getting to know the person in front of you, you're also very focused on having a couple of intelligent things to say about them later when you're asked to give your assessment of the candidates. Your goal in that first pitch is to make their job as easy as possible. Tell them exactly what you want them to remember. If it feels natural and authentic to you, you can even use the words, I hope that today you will see that I am X, Y, and Z, and that makes me a great fit for this role, or whatever that pitch feels like naturally to you. But you have to be clear on what those messages are. It's, a test, an interview isn't a test, it is a conversation, but it's also you in the driver's seat telling them your story. And that pitch, that opening, is where you have the opportunity to tell them the 2 or 3 key things that you want them to remember. The middle phase is illustrate, and this is where you give your evidence. This is where you get to tell the best stories from your life and your career that demonstrate those things about you that you put forward in the pitch. These are the chances when you get asked questions like, tell me about a time you had to handle a difficult client. Tell me about a time when it was difficult to align your stakeholders. And people remember stories, right? People aren't going to remember necessarily what you told them about yourself or all of the facts and figures, although facts and figures are helpful. But what they remember is a good story. That's what sticks with people. That's how they form their impressions. And so when you have those examples that you reflected on when you were preparing, they're all ready to go. And no matter what questions you get asked, you can find some way to use those stories to illustrate the things that they're inquiring about. And so when you set up these stories, you want to help people understand, number one, what was the challenge you were facing? And why was it important to the business that you were working in or to the organization that you were a part of? So you set that challenge, you explain to them, what was your insight? What did you do? What did you actually execute on? And then what were the results of that? So what was the outcome? And was that good, bad? And finally, and this is the most critical piece, what obstacles did you encounter and what did you learn? Good stories, memorable stories, don't just kind of go smoothly, right? And we know that work rarely goes smoothly. We encounter obstacles, we have to change course, and we learn something from it. And that's what really sticks in people's minds, is how are you able to adjust? So you're demonstrating not only the practical skills that you have for the job, but also your learning agility, your leadership in those moments, how you had to flex and learn and grow a little bit. And when you think about those jobs and you think about the things that you want to highlight from your, whether it's your career history or your academic history, those are the moments that challenge us. Those are the moments that help people really understand who we are and how we're going to show up at work. And so then finally, you come to your close. So you've kind of told your best stories. You've told about the times when you really were challenged to deliver something, where you got to be part of something that was really important. And the close is a chance to reiterate your message. It's to bring it back. I hope I was able to demonstrate X, Y, and Z, whatever your key points are, whatever the things you really want them to know about you. That's a chance also to ask questions, and to ask questions that are really thoughtful about what the business challenges are, how your role can help the business through those challenges, how you're going to be evaluated on your performance. So, you know, I always like to ask when I'm interviewing for jobs, what that interviewer sees is the difference between a strong performer in the role and a really exceptional performance in the role. What are those differentiators at the top end of the performance range that it's important to keep in mind? What are the potential challenges? These are all things that it's helpful for you to know going in, because you can then reflect back on your own motivators and what you like to do and what you don't like to do, to evaluate for yourself, is this job a good fit for me? And it also helps demonstrate to the folks that you're interviewing with that you're being thoughtful about not only showing up and performing the tasks in the job description. That's the price of entry. Someone who can do the tasks in the job description is always going to be a good performer. But what makes someone a great performer, and what you want to be thinking about starting with the interview, but also when you get into the job, is what are those things that are going to be more transformative than just getting the job done? How are you going to leave that job in a couple of years when you've gotten what you can for the job and given what you can to that job? How are you going to leave it a little bit different? What's going to be your legacy in that role? And it's rarely going to be about a task focus, process execution. It's going to be about making something better, making something beyond just the scope of your job better than you found it. So that's your close. You ask those questions, you reiterate your core messages. If it feels comfortable to you, one of the things that I always like to say is, I hope that you'll remember, I hope that you've learned, I hope I've been able to demonstrate. Those are all kind of easy ways in, without being overly salesy, to say, here's the things I want you to know about me and that I hope I told you successfully. And then that interviewer is going to leave knowing exactly who you are. And you've made their job really easy, because then they're going to take those 3 messages and go back to the person who's asking for their opinion and say, okay, well, this person told me that they were X, Y, and Z, and they showed me with these stories. And oh my gosh, did you hear that story? That was so interesting about how they had to face that challenge. They're ready to go, and you've made their job really easy. And then it becomes about, are you the person that they want for the job? But they will leave knowing exactly who you are, exactly what you're going to bring to the role that's unique. You're in the interview because you're qualified. You no longer need to demonstrate that. They need to know a little bit more about who you are, how you learn, and how you flex in the face of challenges. That's what you're there to show in an interview. You're there to tell a compelling story. Thanks, Hari.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I would really love to say that there have been comparisons when someone does a presentation. What's the best way to present? And to tell our life or anyone's life as a story and help in succeeding the interviews, having this clear picture of the 4 stages of preparing for an interview and how do we put ourselves in the best position. It's an amazing slide. We have taught about interviewing skills and presentation skills to our students in the different sessions in the prior weeks. And this particular slide and the information that you conveyed, that who you are, what skills you have learned, and how you have overcome the challenges, and highlighting that with various examples during an interview, and that helps to succeed in the interview. Wonderful, wonderful highlights on how to overcome challenges and succeed in interviews. Thank you so much, Denise, for sharing your knowledge and expertise.
Thank you.
Sure. With that, let's move on to the next one, which is work-life balance. Before that, can I just confirm if Julian is on the call?
Julian is on the call.
Thank you, Julian. All right. Let's touch upon entrepreneurship with Julian, followed by Archana on this. Julian, your 5 minutes. Your stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm really happy that at the beginning of this session, we started, as we went through in terms of women empowerment, my colleagues, Kavita and Renu, and the other ladies also who presented, spoke to self-confidence, which is extremely important. I think that many times when we look at entrepreneurship and when we look at women in entrepreneurship, we assume that, okay, well, you know, we have this idea and we're going to run for it. But the very foundation of any person, but since we're speaking about women, of women pursuing opportunities really starts with that inner decision that they are confident enough in themselves and they believe in their ability to pursue that particular opportunity. And that is of absolute importance as we continue on this road or on this growth process in terms of the empowerment of women in our communities and our respective societies. So women economic empowerment really means exploring how women can participate in trade or as workers, you know, be empowered in a way where they're in leadership positions. And it is a very important role, and it's very important worldwide. And it's something that in various countries around the world, they're actually paying attention to. And why are they doing that? It's because that women own to approximately 10 million companies, small and medium business enterprises throughout the world. And then small and medium enterprises account for almost 80% of the jobs around the world. So even in Denise's presentation, as she spoke about the process in terms of an interview, we recognize that women are really taking a leadership role in terms of job opportunities, leadership in companies, as well as for the ownership of companies as well, as I mentioned before, 10 million. So it's important to be competitive, and it's important in terms of the development of women for opportunities that exist currently. The concentration of women, particularly in services worldwide, is also very important. And the reason I'm going to focus on services particularly is because I understand that, you know, many of the women who may be participating would be from the School of Engineering and Technology. And engineering and technology, based on international trade, is categorized as a services sector. And for that reason, you're seeing that there's a huge opportunity for women to grow both in products and services, but primarily in services because there are various categories within the services sector. We're also seeing that the digitalization of these services is reducing the opportunity to participate in, for example, in the startup of entrepreneurs. So when starting a business, you're going to find that there are a lot of resources that would need to be employed, whether it is from a human and physical standpoint, financial standpoint. But through digitization, you're seeing that there are opportunities now for more women to participate in a way where they can reduce the cost in terms of the startup cost, and then with the right strategic approaches, can then pursue opportunities for entrepreneurship. So with that basis, one of the things that I'm going to focus on this morning is determining the best strategy in terms of, as a women entrepreneur, how to approach it. One of the first things that is important is having a plan of action and what that plan of action is in terms of achieving that particular goal. Do you thoroughly understand the needs and the potential of the market? And have you met with your market on a face-to-face basis, or have you engaged your market in such a way that you really understand what it is that you're looking for? I would like to insert here at this point that currently, I mean, I'm in business school with Harry and a few of the colleagues on this program this morning. But in addition to my job, I'm also in the state at a point where I'm looking at entrepreneurship. And it's one of the reasons why I was very excited to come to the table, because I wanted to speak to what my experiences have been thus far. I've worked with women entrepreneurs over the past 15 years and at various stages of growth in their organizations. But one of the things that I've realized is that it's one thing to look at it from the periphery, from the outside, but it's another thing to actually walk the walk and talk the talk. And that's one of the reasons why I mentioned self-confidence at the beginning of this session in terms of starting. So in order to thoroughly understand the needs, when starting, any entrepreneur would need to know what are the vital things that are important for this particular community or for my particular target market in terms of what business that I would like to establish. And then based on that, the next thing would be to shape your message and identify what makes your company or service unique. It's important to establish what makes you unique and separates you from others. And I would like to encourage here a competitive analysis. It's important to do as much research as possible to see what other companies are in your space. What are they offering? What makes them special? What distinguishes each one from each other? Who are they targeting? What price ranges are they targeting? What specific products are they offering? All of these factors become very important in terms of establishing yourself as an entrepreneur, but mostly establishing yourself to be a unique entrepreneur in the market. And also too, if you are entering the market as an entrepreneur, making up your mind that, okay, fine, you may be starting a business, but there may be someone on the heels of you also trying to do something very similar to you. So what will continue to help you to keep that competitive edge, and what would help you to continue to pursue things in a way where your business can continue to grow and sustain beyond the 5-year period. Another thing to take into consideration is your promotional material. Is it culturally adaptive? So for example, you're in India and you're interested, let's say, in targeting, you have a digital company and you're interested in targeting, let's say, European clientele, or you're interested in targeting American clientele. How can you design your platform or your business in a way that is adaptive in order to incorporate the target market that you're focusing on? So let's say you are in a business, let's say you'd like to sell products currently produced in India, but you would like to target, let's say, the European market. What are some of the features that you would like to incorporate on your platform that would help you to establish yourself well within that market? And that may require you doing the necessary research to see, well, what are the other digital platforms in this market? How have they presented themselves? What are the key features that you've noted that are important within that market that may be very important to the consumers? These are things to pay attention to so that as you develop your digital platform, for example, you're able to ensure that you incorporate the necessities that are required within that market to help you to be at the top of your game, or within the top group of companies that are chosen for particular item or particular product.
Thank you very much, Julian. I would the framework that you have put on how to approach in being an entrepreneur and identifying the needs of the market, facing the experience of what the market needs are, and putting together and supporting with a great promotional material, and also recognizing that there are different cultures and adapt to different culture is a very key thing in order to succeed in entrepreneurship and running your own business. So thank you very much for putting it together. Do you have any few words to finalize, or would you like me to get it out in the Q&A session?
Yes, what I'd like to say is that when starting a business and or if you have already started a business and continuing with a business, do not be intimidated. I think the importance of self-confidence, once again, that was mentioned earlier by my colleagues, remains true. And I think that there's a quote that goes that, women tend to shy away from opportunities that men always go after, whether or not that they're capable or not to do the job. And I think as we continue to approach opportunities in entrepreneurship, as well as jobs, that we have to remember that we need not be afraid of starting and just going after what it is that our dreams are as it pertains to, entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much, Julian. Thank you for wonderful inputs. And with that, I would like to have Archana quickly add some of her experience as an entrepreneur. Archana?
Thank you, Hari. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to say hello to everyone and thank the PSNA alumni and the faculty for organizing such a interesting program. And I don't know many colleges that have such a program. So this is a great initiative by the faculty and the alumni, and I'm honored to be a part of this. And I hope that all the students will take full advantage of this and come out in flying colors. I'm going to begin with an example from my life. And what you see on the screen is the PSNA app. And I was very happy to be a part of this. This started last summer when my son started a summer internship program with UMOBI Solutions. And he every day would share the interesting things that he learned about how the app could be built. And it intrigued me. Although I've been an educator for most of my career, when I heard about how simple this mobile app development tool was, it really piqued my interest. So I started sitting on all of his internship sessions along with him. And pretty soon, without my knowledge, I realized I had become a part of it. And along with Hari, we gathered a team of 20 women. These were women who were in the workforce earlier, but had taken a break from their career to raise a family. And now they were looking to get back into the workforce. And it was very interesting to see how the dynamics of a woman who has been in the workforce, but has taken a break and then wants to come back, how her mindset is. And because I've been through that process, I understood that really well. And having to lead that team of 20 women, and I'm sure Shubha will agree with me, she was part of the team as well. So we had to bring out some of those skills that we did not recognize in ourselves, which for those of you who know Ramayana will relate to Hanuman. He was one such character who did not realize his own strength. Sometimes you need an outsider to bring those strengths out in you. And I realized that I did not have the skill of leadership until I actually began with working with this team. So it really empowered me in that sense. And this was a lesson that I took with me. And there are quite a few lessons that I learned while working with this team. And one of those is that a good leader who has figured out what her strengths or weaknesses are and recognizes that everyone on the team is a human being. That means everyone has their ups and downs, has their strengths and weaknesses. And I'm not insecure about my weaknesses. I recognize them. And the names that you see on the screen are women who, some of them have expertise in the technical field, some have expertise in the research and analysis, some of them were very good in sales. My job was to recognize that strength in them and to allow them to express that role. And in the process, we learn to become more secure about ourselves. A good leader is one who's secure. In fact, there's another example that comes to my mind as I'm talking about this. The CTO of Umobi Solutions, he's in India. And when the COVID situation started, I remember that he was scrambling because a lot of the teammates did not have access to internet. They were finding it difficult to get hold of a computer or a laptop. And he had 25 people in his team whom he had to make these arrangements for. And I remember calling him once and talking to him. And I said, how are you managing this? You have 25 people who are working remote. They do not have internet. They do not have computers. How are you handling this? And he said, I don't have time to be angry. I don't have time to worry. I am channelizing all of my energy in trying to find solutions to these problems. That is I thought that was the lesson I took away from that, is that a leader does not waste his or her time and energy in worrying about problems. Rather, they would spend all their time and energy in trying to find a solution to those problems. So that was a big learning for me. And I carry that lesson with me all the time. And I realized the difference between a secure and an insecure leader. An insecure leader will usually raise his voice or try to put others down because he or she wants to hide their own insecurities. And remember this, everyone is going to face hardships. Nothing comes easy, okay? What we need to learn is how we can turn those wounds into wisdom. And this is something I learned from Oprah. How do you turn your wounds into wisdom? It's a very small and simple example, again, that I faced when I started my career as partnership and alliances manager. I realized people did not take me very seriously. They thought, this is a woman who has just come back after a big, long break. What does she know about mobile app development? What does she know about technical jargon? Let's throw some technical words at her and see how she handles the situation. I remember sitting on one of these Zoom meetings where I was talking to the CEO of a company, and he kept throwing all these technical jargons at me. And I must say, I was flustered at the beginning because I was still starting my career in this area and I was not very sure how to handle it. But I did not let him know that I was, unsure about it. But I realized I knew most of it. It was my insecurity. I thought I did not know it. Once he started posing those questions to me, and I just took a step back and calmly thought what I had to say as an answer to those questions, I realized I had all the answers. I just looked at this man as a CEO of a big company who has 30 years of experience. And then I found myself as just one, like an elephant in front of a rat. He looked like the elephant and I looked like the rat, the individual who had no knowledge, nothing. And this is where the imposter syndrome comes in, where we actually think we don't know some of these things. And I trying to remember that little box that Shubha was referring to when she talked about confidence. The third box where we know something, but we feel we don't know it. And I think that's where I started ticking off the boxes and saying, these are some of the skills that I know. These are some of the questions I can answer. And it really built my confidence. At the end of the meeting, that same CEO who kept throwing technical jargons at me and kept questioning me said, this is one of the best discussions I've had. And he, in fact, after the interview, after the discussion, he went back to the company CEO and said, "You have hired the right person." That was a big, proud moment for me. I did not let those wounds hurt me. I used that as wisdom, as tools to help myself grow. So I want everyone here to understand that and learn this, that be a sponge, don't be a rock. Be a sponge that absorbs and learns from all of these experiences so that it makes you a better person. Don't let these be roadblocks for you. Don't depend on external validation. Now, with this generation, social media is a big form of validation. Everybody looks for that instant gratification. Don't let that impair your judgment. Don't depend on external validation. Have confidence in yourself, and you will all do really well. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very, very much, Archana. You really explained with your life examples of how you went about picking up the confidence and succeeding in many of your challenging situations. And thank you for your entire team in developing a mobile app for our college and to help our students, staff, faculties, and alumni to connect together and stay up to date with the college activities. So thank you very much for you and for your entire team in helping us with this mobile app. Thank you, Archana.
Thank you.
With that, I know that we have many speakers, a few more speakers lined up, and we are going to touch upon important topic, which is work-life balance. So we are going to have Kala Bhatt and Catherine who are going to talk about work-life balance, and then we will touch upon a few other important topics. So roundabout in next 15-20 minutes, we will be having all of our speakers touching on their topics, and then we'll come up to the Q&A session to the end. So Kala, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Hari. Hello, everyone. So we all can agree that we all define work-life balance a little differently. I personally believe that work is part of life, and you can have life without work, but you certainly can't have work without life. So therefore, one should not separate them or try to balance them. Work-life balance does not exist. It's all about setting priorities, and it's all about managing your energy. Research have shown that happy people are the happiest when they're busy, but they do not feel rushed, and that anxiety is reduced by feeling in control. This is what work-life balance is about. It's about feeling in control, and that is the key. So how do you get there? So you must draw a line. You must decide what is important and what isn't. Ask yourself several times a day, what's the most important thing for you to do right now? So when you can do anything when you stop trying to do everything. I have a little video on YouTube that actually sums up on how to set up your priorities. Hari? I don't think we're able to see the video, Hari.
Yeah, we cannot.
Yeah. Are you sharing your content for the video?
Hari, can you hear us? We can't see the video.
Oh, Renu, you can't hear the video? You can't see it?
We can't see
No,
it.
we cannot.
Okay. All right. So in the interest of time, Kala, would you like to still
Sure.
show the video, or you want to summarize
Yeah,
that?
that's okay. I can just explain. It's basically a professor who tries to explain on how important it is for you to set your priorities. And he takes a jar saying that if you know what your values are and what your priorities are, and if you were to put them in a jar, and he explains them as golf balls. If you put them in the jar, you can actually have so many other things that you can fill the jar with. And here you can see on the screen that one jar is overflowing if you do not know how to set your priorities. And the other one is actually you still have room to put other things if you really do know how to set your priorities. So the key is really knowing how to set your priorities. And when you get a chance, please do watch the video because it's very inspiring. And I think one of the most important things for us on setting priorities is really taking time to take care of ourselves. It's very important that we take time for our physical, mental, and emotional health and put that time for ourselves. I know most women, we feel very guilty in trying to take care of our needs first. But as the quote says, if you neglect to take time for yourself or take care of your needs, you will eventually fail at every other role you have. So I urge everyone, and it's very important, to rest and self-care are so important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. And I'm completely reminded of this every time I travel. And when they do a safety moment, they always tell you, please put the mask on yourself first. If you do not put the mask on yourself, you're not able to breathe and help others. So do not neglect the most important person, which is yourself. Every day, take time to take care of yourself first.
Thank you, Kala. Sincere apologies for that video not coming up. I'll make sure that I'll distribute it to the students at the end of the seminar. But thank you very much for telling an important thing. So we always struggle to balance our work and life, but you said an important thing. This first thing is to take care of yourself. It will allow us to take care of other things in life. So thank you very much for the key point. So with that, I would like to welcome Catherine to speak about how organizations are helping women and working mothers to become comfortable and to balance within the work hours, how they can balance their life better. Catherine?
Unmute, Catherine.
Thanks for giving this opportunity. I thank everyone, including our college management and department staff and everybody and Alumni Association for giving this opportunity. I'm proud to say that I am part of PSNA College, ex-student and 1996 batch. So the main agenda for these two slides is we are clubbing up with organization culture with work-life balance. So you would now understand that why we are clubbing. Because IT industry is a more stressful industry and more priority oriented, and most of the activities will be coming on the fly. Most of the people will be working extended time zone, cross time zones, all those things. So that is the reason this work-life balance and this organization culture has been clubbed up. So for the young women or my juniors, I would like to introduce a few of the important points of this IT industry culture, work culture. So main thing is, you know that IT industry is having a flexible time, and it has a good compensation, and it has a good different standards and policies, because we are supposed to interact with people around the globe. Because based on your project, you may have to work with US people or US clients or UK clients or many countries we used to work depending upon the project nature, and it is very dynamic also. And leadership perspective, every time the leaders will be every quarter or every by quarter, the leaders will be keeping on changing, and their leadership styles also going on will be changing. So according to that, we have to set our priorities and we have to set our goals within the projects and other things. So from the project side, there will be different kinds of projects available, and you will have development projects, support projects, maintenance projects, migration projects, and then new technology projects. So whenever women enter into the field, they need to be very flexible. So the first expected thing is they should be having an open mind for reskilling to any extent, because the project nowadays projects are coming only 3 months, 6 months projects are given, contracts are given only for 3 months, 6 months, not more than that, and every project will be having a different technology. So women who are coming into the field should be very open for reskilling, And there is you might have noticed in January there was a World Economic Forum has announced a reskilling revolution around the globe, because global reskilling is a must for at the time. And across the globe, lot of reskilling efforts have been taken, either in the industry side or in the education side. So women are expected to be reskilling and open for reskilling anytime. So this is the first expected quality. And apart from that, as I told, the projects are very small, and the projects are very small duration, and you may be shifted between the projects, and you may be asked to work across time zones depending upon your project. So you should be able to adaptable, and you have to work with a challenging project environments. One project may not be similar to another project. Every project is unique, and every client expect different. So you have to work across the, whenever we are working across the projects, you have to be very adaptable, and you have to more customer focused. That is the main thing expected. So we, as organizations, are committing to the clients, they will be expecting the employees to be adhering to their commitments. So we have to understand that, and we have to do the proper justice to the clients for the amount of cost which is being paid. So that is the main thing. So flexibility to accommodate life changes. Accordingly, we have to plan our life, and we have to accept our life changes, and find we have to find other alternate ways, whether it is a working woman or whether it is a men, there is no difference. So because it is a equal opportunity employment area, wherein we are working along with men. So women are not uh, uh, having any kind of special permission, special things, because we are paid equally with men. Okay, so there is no separate salary for women. So we have to be flexible. And main thing is, nowadays organizations are trying to understand women's, especially Indian women's circumstances, and they are doing their best. But we have to cope up with the market scenario, because employers are paying to us. That is one thing. Next thing is, there will be a lot of failures, because the project failures, there may be family failures, whatever it may be. We have to get up, ready to get up and run. Think what is next. That is the attitude should be there for the woman. So, and moreover, there are, due to maternity reasons, people may be women may be or may not be able to continue work similar to men. So that when they are coming back also, there are a lot of challenges. So we understand a lot of challenges will be there, and we also undergone those challenges. Before 10 years, there were very limited options and very limited uh, opportunities available for women to take care of their kids and other things. Nowadays, there are a lot of flexible options available, extended leaves, extended work from homes. A lot of things are available. So young women can boldly take up IT industry for their future thing, because there is government-wise initiatives, and then organization-wide initiatives. Most of the things are taken care. Only thing is, we have to accommodate according to our circumstances. And regarding role changes and other things, a lot of performance is the key criteria in IT industry. So when you are comparing the performance of when you are having a role change slot or anything, automatically the performance is a key criteria, and how you perform over a particular period of time. And in IT industry, we have a lot of roles, like from the juniors, when the freshers are coming in, they will be joining as system engineers or software engineers. Then they go to senior software engineers, then they go to analyst, then they go to team and team lead, then they go to associate manager, and then they go to project manager, and then they go to senior manager and the other leadership roles. So this is the step by step available. So when the performance is and moreover, the slots are based on performance. There will be a limit. The slot count will be reduced whenever you are going to the higher roles, especially after analyst. The lead roles are very competitive. Manager, project managers, and then leadership roles are very competitive. There will be limited roles available, and a number of people will be competing against these roles. So the women should understand what is the performance based culture, and they have to show their performance and then prove themselves. And whenever they are having their that is a reskilling plan, they have to accommodate what is the skill expected for their the current industry, and then they have to plan for their reskilling plan, and then they have to run their own race to reach their proper goals. So this is one of the thing to reach the top in the career and other career ladder. And work-life balance is already, Kala has talked a lot about that. It is not a work-life balance, it is work-life integration. So you have to integrate your life with work. If you are going to be in a career mode, you have to integrate work with life, and family is also important, work is also important. So every day you have to prioritize, and every day you have to rethink your priorities then and there. And we cannot set priorities we can set priorities weekly basis or monthly basis, but that will not be stable whenever it comes for IT industry. So because every day when you are going to the office or in the morning, every day you make different decisions. It is not a stable, you cannot plan 100%. You can plan 80%, you can plan 70%. Other things are planned on the fly. So from the management side, there will be a lot of changes will be coming every minute. A lot of directions will be changing. So you have to be accommodative and you have to plan accordingly. So that is a thing. So I suggest women who are coming into IT industry to be more flexible, like open mind. You should be like a clay. They will mold you. That's it. So that's all from my side, Hari.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I think most of the key takeaways and most of the points that you mentioned that is applicable for IT industry, I think it resonates with other careers also. Like, you can plan only certain amount of portion of your time, but some things come up suddenly. And as long as we can prioritize it, take care of the urgent versus important one, and continue to focus on the next important task to get it done, and then work towards accomplishing the next one. I think you brought up a very good aspect of the work-life balance, and also highlighted a very important thing, that it's an equal opportunity employment. And
yeah, correct.
Yeah, and they give, there are portion of management layers and portion of organization decision-making where they encourage women to get into the leadership roles. At the same time, when you are beginning, you are treated as one among the other employees. And if you are performing well, I think you will succeed in career. And that's what very beautifully highlighted in some of your key takeaways. So thank you for sharing your experience and expertise. Thank you.
Thank you, Hari.
Yeah. So with that, we will quickly move on to the other aspect of being a woman and being a career woman. It's also important, not only career and the personal life where we have the self-confidence helping to overcome our challenges, financially having a sound financial management plan, how to handle money in our day-to-day life. So for that, I would like to introduce and welcome Sri to quickly walk us through how she has developed her money habits and how others can take a clue from it. Sri?
Thanks, Hari. Am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. Yeah. Good evening, everyone, to those in India, and good morning to everyone over here. Thanks for this opportunity. I'll make sure that I leave you with some takeaways in these few minutes given to me. On this topic, simple money habits, I consider this as an opportunity to share my best practices in handling my finances. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just like a fellow woman. I'm going to share my good money habits that I had learned in the past after several trial and errors. So I've been using this system since 2008, and so far it has worked like a charm to me. So yeah, I'm sure you're able to see this presentation in front of you. It does require discipline in keeping money and making that money earn more money for you. You have to pay yourself first. I'm sure you would have heard this quote from Jiten and Veera, who spoke about the finance management during yesterday's session. Our natural habit is to spend and then save the rest. But we need to make it a habit to first save and then spend the rest. This is the key. We need to etch this in our mind. I can show you how I put this in practice. But before that, I would like to highlight a few thumb rules in managing the finances. Ensure that you set aside some time end of every month, preferably the last weekend of every month, to sit down and pay your bills. Stop all the auto payments. Do all your payments manually so that you feel the savings and expenses that you have. And ensure that you have a clean slate before start of next month. And the next thumb rule. Try to stick to one bank for all your financial needs for your multiple savings account and credit cards. It's easier to maintain it that way. You can control everything in your one single bank app and avoid all external transfers. And the third thumb rule is to have fewer credit cards. Recommended is 3 to 4, not more than that. And probably just 1 or 2 of your favorite store cards. Try to stop collecting all different store cards just for the sake of 5 to 10% discount, else things go out of control. So having said these thumb rules, first, we need to create a system that if one setup will work forever, you can forget about it. I'm not going to talk about installing any mobile app or maintaining an Excel spreadsheet to track your savings and expenses. No. I'm talking about a visit to the bank, to your bank, and opening the number of savings account that you need. That is it. Now, in the picture, you can see traditionally, your bank provides 1 or 2 checkings account. If you have only one checkings account, I would ask you to recommend to request them for another checkings account. This is the reason. So all your direct deposit from your employer goes into your one of your checkings account, which you call it the income checkings account. And the other one, you call it floating because you don't want to touch your income flow and rather segregate all your auto debits, like for your home mortgage, or be it for your kids' school fee, classes, the ride, all your other payments for the check withdrawals. For all these things, it's better that you segregate both your checkings account. Okay. Now, to manage your savings efficiently, you need to have 5 different savings account. So this is what I have, the 5 different ones. I name it these, but you can go with your own personal choices based on your comfort. So I call it one account as the holy account, where that is the first amount from my income at the end of every month I transfer into. For example, so I'm relating in dollars, but you can relate to whatever currency you are. So I transfer $100 every month into this holy account. So this is basically for God and charity. So this is a standard amount that I transfer every month, regardless of whether I use it or not. And throughout the year, what I do whenever I'm in need of doing some rituals or for any donations, I just dip into this account and make use of it, utilize that. So I don't have any pinch on my regular paycheck. So this can be used annually throughout the year. And the next savings account that I have is the personal growth account. So this also, again, I transfer $100 every month. Reason, I will be using throughout the year on demand for spending for my books that I shop, any books, any inspirational books or educational books that you buy, instead of having it in your, regular credit card. So rather, if you maintain in this account, you can pay to your shopping credit card from here. I just transfer my funds from my growth account to my credit card and just nullify that, flatten that balance. So it's not only for books, but also for your educational courses. So I'm sure you would know it is almost like $500 to $1,000 if you have to do a 3 months course every weekend for in whatever knowledge you want to gain. So that is something you would be a big pinch on your regular paycheck. So I maintain $100 every month in this growth account and then dip from it when I need it on demand. And then next savings account is the health account. So here again, I transfer $50 to $100. It depends on your family size. So if you're a small family, it's good enough it's sufficient enough if you transfer 50, if not $100 per month. And again, I use it for the expenses that I pay related to health in my credit card, which I'll come to it later. So for my health credit card, I just transfer funds from here, from this savings account, and then flatten the balance in my health credit card. And the fourth savings account is the emergency savings account. So this is where I transfer the bonus that I receive annually from my employer, and the tax refund which we receive annually, and also $250 approximately I transfer. It again depends. It's just I'm sharing what I'm doing. So it's $250 every month I transfer into this emergency account, which is for your rainy needs. Like say for example, you have household repairs that you have to pay for, or you need to make use of your money for vacation, flight tickets, travel expenses. Then what I do, I don't pinch in my regular paycheck. Rather, I just transfer, I just make use of the money from this emergency funds. So, and the last one, the treasure account, I would cover it once I finish talking about the credit cards. Okay, so now I'm not sure if you're able to see the left hand on the right of your screen. Hari, I think probably because the speakers are listed. So is that fine? Are you still able to see? I don't know.
I can hear it. I think, yeah, you can just quickly summarize the rest of the topic. Yeah. Thank you.
Got it. Okay. So on the credit cards, I maintain 4 different credit cards. The first one is the utility, where I pay all the utility bills like internet, mobile, the home, car, life insurance bills, etc. So all these I use this credit card. So I maintain some completely different one. And then the second credit card that I maintain is the supplies. So that is for the groceries, for all the household supplies. And if I got to spend in restaurants, so everything I maintain in this, so I can easily keep track end of the month how much I'm spending on that credit card. And the third one is the shopping credit card. So that is where I use it for the clothing, toys, or electronics, what I buy. So all your Amazon kind of shopping expenses, I maintain this credit card. And so exactly I would know by end of the month if I'm going overboard. And the fourth credit card that I maintain is the health credit card, where I use this only for all the co-pays that I do for the medical expenses, and also when I go to the pharmacy, so anything that I purchase for the medical needs, so I use this credit card. And also for all the lab bills, which is like it'll be like anywhere between $150 to $300, so out of pocket expense, apart from what the insurance provider covers. So it's going to be varying every month, so it'll be a big pinch. So I maintain in my health savings account, which I spoke about, so that whenever I need less or more, it doesn't matter to me. I just transfer the funds into the health credit card and just flatten the balance. So I would recommend just maintaining 4 credit cards is much easier. And if it is in the same bank, it's easy for you to transfer all your expenses. Okay, so now after saving, so remember that you have already saved in your personal growth account, emergency funds, and also when you do, when your employer does a direct deposit, remember you would be given a choice to opt for your retirement funds, which is the Provident Fund or the 401k, so which is in the middle of the right hand that you see here. So and they would offer you a company match. So I would suggest you to make use of the company match. Make sure it is greater than that. Probably 6% is what is recommended at least. And with that, whatever take home that you receive would be already negated. The retirement funds will be already negated. So that's already you have saved over there. And also in the middle of the right hand, you see home. symbol, right? Right. So it is for the home mortgage that you pay every month. So as soon as you receive your take home and before you transfer into your Holy Growth Health Emergency Funds, you transfer for your home. Preferably, I mean, initially you might be renting, but later when you own your own home, so you would flatten your mortgage account every month. You need to pay your balances. And then next, also for your education. So if you're a student right now, probably it is something that your parents would be accountable for. But when you have your family of your own, you need to start saving for your education funds for your children.
Sure.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Sri, for going through the savings and expenses, different categories on how to manage money. So it was really informative and how you have systematically planned and given a segue for all the students who can also plan efficiently. So thank you very much, Sri.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And probably I have two topics, but I'm going to skip one of the topic later in order to give our chief guest sufficient amount of time to share his experiences. Next, we are going to talk about managing the bias. Sheetal, would you like to, can you share your experience on the conscious and unconscious bias that happens for career women, and how do we go about in managing them?
Sure. And I know in the essence of time, I'll definitely keep this very short and sweet. So when we think about bias, what does that really mean to us, right? It's basically having a disproportionate sort of in favor or against something, right? And sometimes we're doing this unconsciously, sometimes it's a learned behavior. So what I will say is that, so when I used to work at Accenture in consulting, I had a few projects in the Midwest where, you know, people of diversity, unfortunately, were lacking a bit. I was maybe of one, I think I was on my team, that was 8 people. There were only 2 Asian people. Me, I was the one Indian person, and then there was one male who was Korean. And between me and him, we actually had a very tough time trying to finish our portion of the project. So between me and him, we got a lot of pressure from our management saying, you know, why are you guys not done with this? What's going on? And here's what happened. So me being at that particular consulting site, you know, I would set up meetings with all the appropriate stakeholders that I needed to meet with in order to accomplish the project in a timely manner. And they would always cancel my meeting last minute, or they would ask me to reschedule it. I would kind of talk to them like, hey, you know, I'm flexible. If you come really early in the morning, I'm happy to come in, or if you want me to come late. So I was very accommodating and very flexible. It turned out that what I realized very quickly is they couldn't relate to me, because whether it was my age, whether it was my gender, whether it was my religion, whether it was my ethnicity. So I spent a lot of time, I think, sitting in the office, listening to the other people speak about whether it was their weekend or whatnot. And funnily enough, I know this show, there's a version of this show in India, but in America, we have American Idol. And at the time, it was a really big show. I think it was the first season or 2, and I was definitely one of the watchers at that time. And I overheard one of the women say, oh, could you believe that star won? Like, I can't believe this is so amazing. And I walked up and joined the conversation and said, oh yeah, I can't believe, and they were actually kind of taken aback that, one, I was watching American Idol, but ironically enough, right after that, they started accepting my meeting invites. We bonded on other things. And it's basically, again, you can't get away from it because everyone's going to have some sort of bias towards something or another. But what I will say is, as you guys get into your careers, you know, your age is going to be a factor, but try and be brave, be courageous, and be bold. That will definitely get you really far. And I think from a corporation standpoint, they love diversity. Like, I know for the company I work at right now, Bank of America, along with a lot of other companies in the US and also in India, they pride themselves on diversity and inclusion. They want people of different backgrounds, ethnicity, age, whatever your political belief may be, whatever it is. I would just say that that is actually what makes you unique. And companies thrive on diversity. It makes you also feel included, whether, you know, what gender you identify with yourself or sexual orientation. I know, again, at Bank of America, we are a big believer of LGBTQ. We're big advocates of it as well and try to help the community. So I would just say embrace who you are. I know a lot of the women talked about self-confidence, embrace that as well. And again, as I said before, be brave, have those courageous conversations. If you see people in your corporation, whenever you do work, just kind of say, hey, I don't really agree with you. I think you should be a little bit open-minded and like have those conversations. I will also say to a lot of the women who are on the call who have a background or studying, coding, so to speak, there actually are a lot of interesting sort of articles out there that within coding, they have systems right now where they do facial recognition. And apparently for facial recognition, they were recognizing African-American women as male. Right? And that's not necessarily the system's fault. It's the coder that is having the bias that's coding it in such a way. So I will share that, keep in mind whatever biases you have, do take a lot of consideration in the workplace. So I would say, again, if you hear people saying things, again, I know it's hard to have those conversations, but try and be bold and have them. And again, I think I'm also an aspiring entrepreneur. So I know for me, one other piece of advice is that I know I want people of diverse backgrounds and natures and whatnot, because I feel like if anything, it pushes us further, not just from a personal growth perspective, also in your career. And people want more innovation, right? So I'll close with that and just say, again, just be who you are, be respectful to others. And again, if you see something that's not accurate in what's happening, feel free to speak up. Thanks, Hari.
Thank you very much for emphasizing that bias is going to exist in one place or the other, but how to be and being bold, brave, and courageous and speaking up is a way to manage that. And you fantastically shared your experience and how to relate with it. So thank you very much for your wonderful insights and sharing your experience. With that, I would be skipping the next topic, which is about resiliency, power of embracing failure for now, because it's most of the women here, as well as in the call, as well as that we face in the world, they all have experienced setbacks and they all have bounced from it. And resilience is a key thing. So without further ado, I would like to skip this topic and bring upon our distinguished speaker for the day, Dr. Bikram Lamba. He has been a regular speaker at World Economic Forum, Davos. He has been an article writer. He has published more than 8 books and 5,000 articles. He has run a TV show and currently running the YouTube channel, Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. He has been a political strategist, advisor to many of the key leaders in politics as well as in business, including our 3rd Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and 4th Israel Prime Minister Golda Meir. He has been part of the community in Canada, and he has served in different community help initiatives in India also. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our most distinguished speaker, Dr. Bikram Lamba. Sir, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Hari. Customarily, I should thank you, the college, the Alumni Association for organizing this excellent program. But I would like to make a change. I like to remember at this time those women, especially women scientists, who were pioneers of scientific advancement and thereby proved that the empowerment is not something new. It has been there since long. I'll stay once again and start by saying that people like Janaki Amma, Vijay Lakshmi, who was in the relative wave equilibrium, A. Chatterjee, the first woman to have Doctor of Science, Anna Mahi, the first scientist to work with Dr. C.V. Raman, Kamala Sohani, PhD in 1935, the missile women, Cassie Thomas. These are Anandbai Joshi, the first Indian physician. These were the women who were embodiments of empowerment. And they came from such a background that their resilience, their capability, their self-esteem, and their desire to grow enabled them to achieve, which at that period of time was practically impossible. I remember when I gave a talk at the World Economic Forum, it was on the usual geopolitical situation. And then I was asked to give a talk on the women empowerment for Africa. And then I mentioned about mom experience of Chandrayaan 2, where it was an all-women team who were responsible for sending Chandrayaan 2, whether it was Vanita Mutia, the head of the mission, Ritu, T.K. Anuradha, Lalita Mumbi, Sita Somasundram, and other members of the key faces. And then LinkedIn asked me to write an article on that. And I think, Hari, you have seen that article where I paid homage to this team, which made the practically impossible work possible. And the Chandrayaan 2 was a great success. Now, I was listening to the speakers, and I was absolutely impressed by the wide variety and the omnibus sort of experience that they were presenting, ranging from self-confidence to work-life balance to diversity and so on. But let me tell you, empowerment does not come by itself. It comes by factors of upbringing, heredity, and more important than self-esteem, self-confidence is self-esteem, and essentially being authentic. Until and unless the child is brought up to be authentic, the child would never have self-esteem. And if a child doesn't have self-esteem, he won't have self-confidence. And if he doesn't have self-confidence, he won't be empowered at all. So this is all interconnected. As today in my idea of the day, I give my idea of the day every day. And I was musing about this webinar. And then I said, we talk of empowerment. We talk of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. We talk of giving credence to our daughters. But do we really empower them? We tell them, okay, you grow up, you do everything, and then we say, go get married and live in that family according to their values. The need is not to empower daughters, the need is to empower our daughters-in-laws. Because once they are empowered, they will empower their children in the context of the family they are married into. And that concept we have ignored till now. Empowerment of daughters is extremely important, but much more is accepting that empowerment of the daughters and transferring that empowerment to the daughters-in-law. And once you do that, the cycle will be complete and the women can be really empowered. When people were talking about the various dimensions, especially Kavita was talking about self-confidence or the journey of the self. That is basically self-awareness. And I was impressed. But then one thing we forget again, that independence is not something external. It's an attitude. The attitude of mind tells us whether we are going to be independent or not. Now, in this context, friends, I'd like to mention about Indira Gandhi. When she became the Prime Minister, one of the leaders of the opposition called her Gungi Gudiya, the dumb doll. And within 6 months, with capable advisors like Haksar Sahab, Dhar Sahab, and others in the team, this Gungi Gudiya became the most capable leader, not only India, but the world has ever known. So much so that after 71 war, the leader of the opposition, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, compared her to Ma Durga. That was empowerment, and that came out of 3 factors. A feeling of empathy. She was fully empathetic to all situations, all people, all circumstances. And here I'd like to mention that the people say sympathetic. No. Sympathy is corroding, suffocating, strangulating. We need empathy. And the young friends who are there going to embark on their life want to be empowered. They must develop the capability of empathy. That is the most important thing. Then is self-esteem. Many people will tell you, don't talk about yourself, don't be egoistic, be egoistic. If you don't blow your own trumpet, who else is going to blow it? Tell me. If you want to be empowered, empower yourself first and then expect empowerment from the others. So I was talking about Mrs. Gandhi. So the first was her empathy, absolute empathy. The second was self-esteem. She regarded herself as inheritor of Nehruvian tradition, secular tradition, as well as intellectual tradition. That gave her strength. And the third was authenticity. She was authentic. No hypocrisy, no sham, no cant, no double talk. So these three factors were responsible for making her the world accepted leader. About Golda Meir and about Margaret Thatcher. Everybody knows Thatcher was the daughter of a grocer. Absolutely humbling experiences. And yet she grew and became one of the finest prime ministers Great Britain has ever known. But coming back to Golda Meir, becoming the prime minister of that country, small country, surrounded by 22 enemy countries. We in India talk of 3 enemy countries, there are the 2 enemy countries, Pakistan and China. Israel is surrounded by 22 enemy countries. And this nation, which has 0.02% of the world population, has got 80% of the Nobel Prizes. That goes to the creed of the Israel. But then, coming to Golda Meir, she had hard-nosed, implacable iron will. One of the speakers here talked about setting up a goal and identifying your capabilities. She identified her goal and set about it in a hard-nosed manner. What Indira Gandhi and Golda Meir had in common was steel in their bodies, in their spines, unwavering confidence in themselves and in the people who they were leading. There was no wavering ever. There was no doubt ever. They were authentic. They said what they were thinking and they adhered to that. So most important was again confidence, self-esteem and authenticity and clarity of the goal. About the mom, I would like to devote much time to that, but I would not because that article can be read. And my homage to these people, this team, the mom team at ISRO, who made the Chandrayaan-2 possible. Now let me come to one factor. How to make or empower these youngsters and empower women. Let's not forget that the empowerment begins at home, where mom and dad think that they are the final arbiters of life and death, their career and their education. That's not empowerment, that's weakening them. We have to change. There has to be an attitudinal change in the parents. Then there has to be attitudinal change in the teachers. Now, Indira Gandhi was empowered by the very fact that she depended on her father, Jawaharlal Nehru's letters to the daughter, glimpses of the world history. That was her base. So that sort of a background has to be provided. The last friend talked of diversity. As a matter of fact, when the people talk of racism and diversity, and when I prepared the strategy paper for President Trump, I told very clearly that when we talk of diversity, we should tell people that diversity has to be accepted as a part of life. But prejudice is definitely no. That is something important. We have got to differentiate between prejudice and racism. Racism, as far as positive past is concerned, I'm a racist if I say I'm an Indian. I belong to that heritage where Gandhari, the best scientist 600 centuries before Christ, was able to give expression. Now I refer to another woman scientist of India, Gandhari, a great philosopher, a great scientist. Why is it that we forget our heritage? And when you say you are a racist, have pride in your race, but not negatively, that doesn't mean have prejudice against others. And that is the same as confidence. Confidence means have faith in yourself, but that doesn't mean that others are bad. Same is your pride, but devoid of prejudice. When you go and assert that what you are. Now I'll give you an example. My son came to Canada and people asked him to change his name from Amrik to something else because he will not get an interview. And he said, bullshit, I will. And today he is a national leader for Deloitte. So empowerment would be at various factors. And now coming to the empowerment of these young technocrats, going to be the technocrats, these young men and women, especially women, since we are devoting to them, of this college, for whom this webinar is dedicated to. Let me tell them that empowerment will start with yourself now. You have crossed that stage when your parents and the teachers could play a different role. Today, you have got to take the initiative. You have got to be sure of yourself. You have got to be clear about your ideals. Mind you, I'm not saying ideas, I'm saying ideals. A human being, an authentic being without ideals, lacks coherence, lacks subtlety, lacks capability to differentiate in the nuances of life. And that is what is most important. Accept the word as it is and change it according to your contentions, according to your intentions, and according to your thoughts. And believe me, the word is willing to change provided you want to change it. You remember when President Trump had to contest the election? This time I'm the team leader for his strategy. And at that time, everybody was saying that he'll be defeated, but we devised a strategy, telling people and empowering the concept. It's not only the empowering the women, it's empowering the concept of womanhood that is empowered. Okay. As we empower the concept of presidentship. You see, we start always with the abstract and then convert it into the reality. And if we still jump without accepting the fact that the concept of empowerment has got to be delineated in such a manner to be applicable to all of them. And once again, authenticity is the most important thing. Now, how to empower? This would be done by various sectors. What you are doing is a great job, I must say that. I've gone through all that. And I'm really, really impressed. And I'm a person who is not easily impressed. Let me tell you very frankly. I'm a person who is supposed to be very tough to be pleased. But what I read about it, when I went through it, I was really impressed by what you're doing for these young people. So empowerment process you have started. And the fact that these people have come up to this level where they are ready to march into the war zone because I take the life to be a war zone. They are leaving the comfort zone of the colleges, going into the war zone, fully empowered, and empowerment is the arms and the armaments, is the nuclear bomb which you are going to explode, but not with fission, but with fusion. That fusion of the capabilities, of the inherent traits, of the basic essentials which make a human being. That's empathy, understanding, goodwill, and self-esteem. Again, I'm emphasizing self-esteem and being honest in thought, deed, and action. What happens normally is, young friends, that we say something and we do another, like a dad telling the child, why did you steal the pencil, when he saw the child with a different pencil than he had bought for him? And the child says he borrowed it. Well, why did you borrow it? Why should you steal it? I could have brought from my office. As if it's okay for the father to steal from the office and bad for a child to steal from a classmate. That sort of a contradictory approach would not empower you. And the most important thing in empowerment is the moral fiber, the ethical values. If you're not ethical, if you don't have the moral feelings, then you cannot be empowered. Howsoever powerful a person may be, such a person would fail. Look at President Nixon. He was as good a president as anybody else, and he failed. He had to resign, as compared to Roosevelt, who, because of his ethical and moral values, was successful. Indira Gandhi was extremely successful, and the other prime ministers were not, for the simple reason of the ethical values. So to be empowered, you need ethical base, and the concrete of that built edifice is going to be the self-esteem. The bricks are going to be your capabilities, your attributes, all cemented together will make you a towering monument. Compare your life, friends, to a big monument where various things come together: bricks, cement, mortar, paint, plaster, and then the building is complete. You are that building where your moral values, your academic attainment, your authenticity, your self-esteem, and your self-confidence. And one thing more, I really appreciated Kala's talk about work-life balance. I always say your life and work need not be balanced, because that's not enough. You need something more. You have to balance your life, family, your career, your health, your mental health, your moral health. These are the 5 balls. And like an Indian juggler who throws these balls and keeps on rotating them, and no ball falls. So if you really want to be empowered, if you really want to be successful, keep these balls rotating. And then the word is yours. You are the person who makes the word. Be empowered. And success would crown you. It will touch your feet. It's for you to do it. My best wishes to the young students, and my thanks to you and the college for this excellent webinar. Thank you, Hari. Thank you, friends.
Thank you very, very much, sir. It's a wonderful message that you told, that self-esteem drives, and combined with moral values, academic achievement, and authenticity, and enhancing our capabilities every single day, and balancing the 5 aspects of moral, mental, health and career, life and family truly empowers all the women and the students who are getting into their careers. Thank you so much for the wonderful message. Sorry to have kept you long waiting. I know you are speaking from Calgary, Canada, which is in the Pacific time zone. You woke up at 5:30 to 6 for us, and you stood along with us all the way. Truly an inspiring role model for all of us. Thank you very much.
My day starts at 3 in the morning. Calgary time.
I can't beat that, sir. Thank you.
Because you see, from 3:30 to 4, I write my 2 articles. And at 6, I give my comments, live comments, which go to my YouTube channel. So it's my daily routine. But anyway, it was an enjoyable thing. Thank you. And I learned a lot today.
Thank you very much. That's so humbling from you, sir. Thank you so much. So thank you for all the speakers today. You persisted with such a long webinar. Unfortunately, it had to delay, and I sincerely apologize for managing the time or not managing the time so well. But I wanted to give enough justification for all the speakers who came prepared and who wanted to share their thoughts and experience. And I hope all of them had a good opportunity and we all learned. And as part of the alumni of my PSNA college and our 1996 batch, there's some of my friends who are also on the call. I sincerely thank all of you, each and every speaker of today, to have contributed your valuable thoughts and experience and shared with us. And it's going to be a treasure forever in our life. And thank you for that. With that, I would like to hand over to Ms. Kartika ma'am and Dr. Kannan sir to share the final few words and the final thoughts from them.
Thank you, Hari sir. Thank you all the speakers for this wonderful session. This is the last session in the 6-week webinar series, Climbing the Peak in Your Own Job Interview, initiated and organized by our 1996 alumni batch. Here's a short teaser which includes all the 6-week series. We can have a quick recap of previous sessions. Shall we have the teaser, sir?
Yes.
Kannan sir, do you have an audio? Is it on mute or something? Go ahead, sir. In the interest of time, keep going ahead. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure having the teaser. You can say the final few thank you words, and then we can hand over to Katya ma'am to conclude.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Kannan sir, can you-
Yes, Harry. Good evening to everyone. On behalf of our PSNA College of Engineering Technology Alumni Association and 1996 batch team, who have done a wonderful job for the last 6 weeks. This is the final week. Almost our boys and girls have learned a lot from this team, their seniors. Today we had a wonderful session, the women empowerment. I thank all the women who have participated in this. Kavita, Julian, Renuka, Sital, Subha, Archana, Kala, Sahaya Arogya, Catherine, Dennis, Kavita, and Srivalli for their wonderful presentation. Especially, I thank our guest of the day, Dr. Bikram Lamba, who has given a very good presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your support. Very much. Thank you very much. The entire 6 weeks webinar has been coordinated by our Harihara Subramanian. On behalf of our college and on my own behalf, I thank Hari for this wonderful task. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The effort has been truly a team effort from the batch of alumni 1996. And we sincerely hope this serves as a foundation for future alumni and future webinars to benefit our students. And I thank all my wonderful friends who shared the stage and who are on the part of the call today. With that, have a wonderful day, and I hand it over to Ms. Katiha to give the concluding statements.
Thank you, Hari sir. We had a wonderful session today, and we thank all the speakers. Kavita ma'am, she gave an inspirational speech about self-confidence, and Shubha ma'am, she beautifully explained finding things which we know and don't know. And Renuka ma'am, she was telling about independency of women. Falling is not failure, and staying down is failure. It's really good, ma'am. It's really inspiration thing. Priya ma'am, she was explaining about independent women should be financially independent and how safety measures to be followed. Thank you, Priya ma'am. And Denise ma'am, she's explaining about 4 stages of preparing for interviews with examples. Juliana ma'am, women as entrepreneur, how women should gain confidence. She was explaining. It was wonderful. And Archana ma'am beautifully explained about leadership qualities and how be a sponge, don't be as a rock, by sharing your own life example. It was wonderful, ma'am. Beautifully explained about work-life balance, the importance of setting a priority. Thank you, ma'am. And Catherine, ma'am, you were explaining about valuable information about organizational culture and how women should handle it. Thank you, ma'am. And Srivalli, ma'am, you beautifully explained about best practices in handling money. And Sheetal, ma'am, you explained us managing implicit bias and diversities in inclusion. Thank you, ma'am. And Dr. Lamba, sir, you explained us how to balance 5 aspects in life and gave us great inspirational speech, and we are fully loaded with positive energy. Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to, now we are in the end of the session. I wish to give a formal thank note. I would like to thank our Pro Chairman, Principal, Alumni Association Coordinator, Sir, Kannan, Sir. And on behalf of Alumni Association, PSNA College of Engineering Technology, I thank our eminent speaker for spending their valuable time to give us wonderful inspirational session. And also I extend my thanks to all the participants and faculty members. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Once again, thank you so much. We will all stay connected in LinkedIn and other areas. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Hari.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir. Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Bye.